Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's devotional. We've been walking through the books of 1st and 2nd Corinthians for a few weeks now. Today we'll be in 2 Corinthians chapter 12. The Apostle Paul is talking about pride and his own boasting and how he could be so proud of his accomplishments spiritually, but that God has put some checks on his life to keep that from happening. So let's read starting in verse 7. So to keep me from becoming proud, I was given a thorn in my flesh, a messenger from Satan to torment me and keep me from becoming proud. 3 different times I begged the Lord to take it away. Each time he said, "My grace is all you need. My power works best in weakness." So now I'm glad to boast about my weaknesses, so that the power of Christ can work through me. That's why I take pleasure in my weaknesses and in the insults, hardships, persecutions, and troubles that I suffer for Christ. For when I am weak, then I am strong. Okay, what's he talking about here? I've heard this passage used to describe maybe a character defect in a person, something that they're struggling with regarding sin or temptation, and say, oh, it's just my thorn in the flesh, and they identify with that thing and allow it to be a part of themselves. But I think that's not the right way we're supposed to interpret this. Paul here is not justifying some sinful habit that he has by calling it a thorn in the flesh sent to him to keep him humble. Our sin never has any excuses. We don't have the right to harbor private sin or keep something in our lives, in our hearts, and our attitudes that doesn't please the Lord, right? So that's not the thorn in the flesh. It's not sin. So if you've been using this as a way to justify keeping sin in your life and not dealing with it, that's gone. You can't do that. Well, if it's not sin, what is it? What is a weakness? Well, in my opinion, this is something about Paul's life that is painful or inconvenient or something that he was forced to go through or deal with because of his walk with Jesus. Just like he says at the end, hardship and persecution and insults and things that he suffers, trouble that he goes through because of his walk with the Lord, because of his obedience to Christ. That there's something about his life that is not the way he wishes it was, and it's painful and it's difficult, and God doesn't do anything about it on purpose in order to keep Paul humble and dependent on him. Now, one thing that I appreciate Paul saying is he calls it a thorn in his flesh. I don't know if you've ever stepped on a thorn. I stepped on one over the summer, and it went deep into my foot, and it took me a long time to get that thing out. But one thing that was very obvious, that thorn was not a part of my body. It was connected to me, and it was like stuck in my foot, but it wasn't me. I want to encourage you. Whatever parts of your life are hard, difficult, painful, things that you wish were otherwise, maybe in your health, maybe in your finances, maybe in your mental health, maybe in the way your family is or your level of education or something about your life. Like, man, God, I don't understand why I have to go through this. Number one, it's not a part of you, all right? That is going to go away one day, either in this life or when we go home to be with Jesus. One day, that's not going to be something you wrestle with. But for now, be encouraged. Paul said those things in his own life were to remind him to be dependent on Jesus. That it's not about our strength. It's not about our lives being exactly what we want them to be. It's about us turning to the Lord and saying, God, I'm weak. I'm broken. This part of me is not the way I wish it was, but I trust you. And 2, it's going to keep us humble. We're not strong enough. We're not smart enough. We're not rich enough. We're not talented enough. We all have these thorns in our flesh. Every step we take, we feel it and it hurts. But God's there, making sure that we have all that we need to accomplish all that he created us to accomplish, even though things aren't the way we wish they were all the time. And in this life, they're never going to be the way we wish they were all the time. So today, my prayer for you is this, that however you feel weak, unqualified, dissatisfied today, let those things drive you to Christ. Let those things remind you to be humble and look ahead to the day when we don't have to deal with them anymore. Amen? Thanks so much for tuning in today. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share this video with anyone that you think needs some encouragement. We love you. We'll see you on Sunday.